Today, we are talking about the Storm Road Warrior right after this. Today we are talking about the newest member of the Road line, this pretty baby right here, the Road Warrior. Let's get right into it. Cover stock, we have the R2S Deep Pearl, which has not been on a US release as of right now. The Deep standing for Delayed Energy and Enhanced Performance, meant to be cleaner through the front than the regular R2S. The core inverted FE2 with the AI technology. This was also on the previously released The Road Ball. I have to say, I was interested to see what would happen here because I haven't really had a ton of success with previous iterations of this line of balls until we go way back to the original High Road back in the day. This is mine right here, 4.5 inch pin to pap. Pretty standard drum that I put on everything when I put holes in it for the first time. So let's check it out here. My hope when drilling this ball was to find something that I can use late in blocks that is quick for when there's a lot of oil down lane and or some defined friction to the right, but also strong enough that I can use it in a number of different environments. My concern was always that recently a lot of the weaker, quicker response, symmetric balls that we have come out with, I haven't really been able to use. Mostly because they have been too weak and never really came into play for me in most tournament situations. Probably the best example of something that I had a lot of success with was the Wolverine Dark Moss. So I was hoping for something that would kind of slot into that area, and fortunately, this seems to be that ball. From the shots that you can see here, especially the ones that are down below at lane level, you can see the quicker response to friction that we want. And it's hard to define how strong or weak it is just from the shots that we're seeing here. We're bowling on a fresh house pattern at a relatively higher friction bowling center. But until we see some shots with the IQ Ruby that I'm going to compare it to, it's going to be hard to judge just how strong or weak this is. But just from my personal experience, I felt pretty good that it was going to be a lot more usable for me in my game with my rev rate, with my speed, than a lot of the weaker, quicker response symmetric balls have been. You'll see a couple of them here that I really tried to kind of get left and get to the right, and that response time really shows itself in being able to, in this shot in particular, really get back from out there. And that was something that got me pretty excited, because I'm used to seeing things not want to read in a situation like this, playing these kind of angles and looking for this sort of ball motion. So like I said, what I'm comparing it to is the IQ Ruby, because, in the balls that are currently in the line, these seem to sort of fit in the same general area. They are weaker cover stocks. We are using them later in blocks. We are using them when there's more friction on the lane. And as you can see, with my experience with this IQ Ruby, is I had a hard time using it a lot just because it was so weak, at least for my rev rate. And these first three shots, they are from exactly where I was using the Road Warrior, which isn't to say that this is not a usable ball or not good. It's just that it has always felt really weak to me, and I was hoping to find something that would slot in that's a little bit stronger, and it seems like we have. You can see it's really just kind of struggling to pick up. And so, we made a little bit of a move. We tried to get closer to the friction, and then you'll see that we do get kind of the shape that we're looking for, but it is definitely a step down as far as strength goes from this Road Warrior, which at least for me means that Road Warrior is probably going to be something that's a little more usable. And you can even see on this one, when I really try to get it to the right, even from playing more in the friction, it's pretty easy for me to kind of gas this one through the spot and not be able to get it to read. So I'm going to show you a few here side by side just so that you can see, what I was seeing out there. And, from a usability standpoint, this is something that I certainly think will be very good in League, depending on the environment that you are bowling on, especially in, medium to higher friction environments. It's also, at least as far as, your arsenal goes, when you're in an environment with a lot of oil down the lane and we need to get some quicker response balls, this will be something that will come into play later in blocks when you see that, and when you see a little bit more defined friction left to right that you're able to take advantage of with something like this. And I think that that's most obvious when we get down to some of these, lane level ankle style shots. You can really see the change of direction when it hits friction. And, that is exciting because I feel like recently that has been a little bit of a gap in at least my arsenal personally that I've been filling with some older equipment and was hoping to get some newer things to fit in that hole. And I think that we have found it. So to recap, talking about usability. From a strength standpoint, I would say this ball creates medium to low friction. It certainly is not the lowest. It is not as low as the IQ Ruby that we saw, but also it is a step down from most of the rest of the equipment in my arsenal, at least. From a usable response time standpoint, we're looking to use this ball in the medium quick to quick range. I think that that's a hole that I've been looking to fill, and this certainly seems to be the closest thing that I've put holes in a long time that fits that spot in my arsenal, at least. So as usual, just want to thank all of my sponsors: Storm Bowling, best bowling balls in the industry, Vice Inserts. We film all these over at Bright Angelo Lanes with Tim Friends from Friends Photography doing the videos for me. And obviously Bowl U, which I think is one of the best environments for learning the game and seeing it from a different perspective. We've got 2 more videos coming out in short succession from this one. We're going to have another one coming out very shortly, a week after that. I'm going to try to be more consistent in the new year. So hopefully you guys like these, and we will have more for you soon. Thanks for watching.